Coming up next on Safety and Awareness Today, we'll have information on backward rolls for children. She used the arcing of her back, self-defense techniques for teenagers, as well as the safety on a cruise trip. This little card becomes essential.
Safety and Awareness Today, brought to you in part by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Today, we're going to cover a backward roll. And I have with me Miranda, and I have Jess with me, Jessica, and we're going to do a backward shoulder roll. Now that means what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to roll backwards from our lower back on one side off one of our shoulders. And the hard part about doing a backward shoulder roll rather than just a backward roll is that you try to move your head to the opposite side of where you're rolling. A backward roll straight on can be done, but it puts a lot of pressure on the base of the skull, on the strain of the cervical vertebrae of the neck. It drives the chin into the chest. At the same time, if you've got your mouth open or you're biting your lip, it will push your teeth together. So it does have some uncomfortable side effects if you go straight back onto your head. So we're going to try to go off to our shoulder just a little bit. And it's definitely harder than a forward roll. So if you two will move right over there, we're going to have Jessica go first. So you move right over there and back up a little bit more. And you're going to be first. So turn around and face that way and bend your knees. She's going to get low to the floor so that she has the momentum without falling. And then when I tell her to, she's going to roll backwards. And then after she comes out of the roll, she's going to back up to the other side of the mat. Go ahead, Jess, give it a try. Good, nicely done. Now, she had a really nice flow. She had good structure. Her head was a little in line with her back, but not too bad. And if you'll notice, she didn't try to use her hands. She used the arcing of her back, all right, literally creating this roll, this wheel structure to get the momentum. All right, Miranda, if you want to give it a try. And back right there and down. Yep. And here she goes. Go. Whoa, very nice, very nice. Now if you saw with Miranda, she had her head to the side a little bit more than Jess, and by doing so, she had a little bit more smoothness to the roll. But it is tough to get your head out of the way. Jess, come on up, Jessica. Let's turn around this way. Good, back up, perfect. Let's try one more, see what you got. Go right ahead. All right, good. Nice flow, nice flow. Miranda, one more. Right here. And down. And whee! Just like that. Excellent. Both of you, very nice job. Come on back out here with me. And we'll face the camera. That's it. That is a backward roll. It takes some practice. If you're going to do it at home or have your child do it at home, because a lot of the schools don't get into it anymore, and other physical fitness areas don't do it because they don't have the mats. You want some nice mats, all right? It makes it more comfortable to do more of them. If you're doing it at home in the living room, you can actually put down some pads, some cushions, even 4 or 5 blankets, just to create some padding for the spine, for the shoulder, for the back of the neck. That is a backward roll. We're going to move on to another segment right now. Right now, we're going to talk about some safety tips that parents can do for their young ladies and gentlemen, their boys and girls of the ages maybe 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7. And we were talking about a couple of these things. Miranda, what's one of the things parents, grandparents should be aware of?
They could put the name at their clothes.
All right. They probably shouldn't put the name of their son and daughter on their clothes for strangers to see. And that's a good point too, because When a stranger comes up to somebody and they can see your name, like if Jessica's name was there, I go, "Hi, Jessica," and she forgets that her name is there. She thinks this person knows them. Next thing you know, she gets a familiarity and a relaxation with them that she shouldn't have. So if your child is wearing their name very visible, your child should also be made very much aware that it is visible, so that they aren't surprised when somebody calls them by their name. Now, Jessica, you had one. What was that one?
The parents should have a secret word in case they have to send somebody to pick up their kid.
In case of an emergency, somebody that wasn't normally going to pick them up, so the parents should set up a secret word for their son or daughter to know that if somebody comes and gets you that it wasn't originally planned to pick you up, you know that it's okay. Now, I've talked to a few people, Tom and Steve. Tom and I had a little discussion on this, and a few other people have brought it up. What can we do to safeguard our children in our public schools? As a retired superintendent of schools, elementary school principal, high school principal, and teacher in the past, there are many things we can do. And the concern is, well, we can't spend a lot of money. Well, the argument becomes our children are worth any amount of money, but my point is there are things that school districts can do that are not expensive. And the one I'm going to mention today is going to be the one-door entranceway process. And that is where as soon as the school bell rings, all the other doors are checked, whether it's by a custodian, a teacher, an administrator. They go through the whole building and all the other doors are checked and locked. You can get out, but you can't get in. Only one door is left open for visitors to come in, and that place is where a person sits to write down their name when they come in and when they leave. All schools can do this. It makes common sense of making sure that the building is secure, our children are safe, and that there's one entrance so that we know who's in our buildings and when, how long, and when they left. All right, let's go back to the studio and see that in a little bit more detail. All right, let's take a look at that right here in the studio. Come on in, Eric. I have Eric with me and Kate. Come on out. Now, I'm going to have Eric grab Kate. Double-handed throat grab. Go right ahead. He grabs her by, and you can see her lift up. That's a powerful grab, and it really is intimidating. But she's going to take her right hand, as petite as she is to him, and she's going to create an arc hand. This is an arc hand, all right? And she's going to push it up, step with the right foot, and drive back. So she's going to go right into his throat and drive back with an arc hand. And when she turns and steps with her right foot, brings her right shoulder forward, it gives her the reach. So let's, one more thing, just so you can see that reach. Grab her. Now, here's what I want you to do, Kate. Step forward, but put your arm out past his throat here. And step your foot a little further and extend your hand. See how much farther her reach is than his double arm grab? That's why she can push right into his throat. Very good, let go. And we're going to move on right now to another technique on the street. The technique you just saw on the street is a single lapel grab, and it's a freeing up technique from that assault. We're going to do it here. Understand that it is a challenging technique. There's some complexity to this one. If you'll turn and face each other, I again have Eric here and Kate. We just did the one technique, and right now he's going to grab her lapel. Right hand grab. She's going to take her hand, right hand over, go all the way over to the back of his hand and turn it upside down. Nicely done. She's simply inverted his hand from top to bottom. She's just turned it upside down. Now she's going to take her left hand, and she's perfect. She's doing this very well. She's putting her thumb up here a ways so that she's going to slide it up to her other hand so that that thumb, her left hand's thumb, is down with the right hand's thumb. They're both on the bottom now. Hands are overlapped. And now, what are you going to want to do next? Step back. She's going to want to drop back as she leans down, all right? And you tap out if you feel it. I could tell you were feeling it and didn't know what to do. That was good. Let's grab her again. Left hand grabs. I just want you to do the flip first. Now, when she turns his hand over, it's tied up in her clothes, her coat, her jacket, her sweater. Now the right hand goes up, and if you'll notice, see where her thumb is? It's way up here. Now it slides up, all the way up. She overlaps her fingers. She drops back and pressures, push. Good. All right. If this is done, if you'll step back and just face this way, if this is done correctly, what happens from this grab is this is the hand as it grabs. When it's rolled over, it's directly upside down. So that we're going to put the pressure right here on this part of the wrist. And moving your foot back changes the center of gravity of your hips. It gives you more leverage. Very nice. All right, we're going to move on to another spot right now. Right now, I'm going to cover some safety in whitewater rafting. All right, I had the opportunity just recently to do some whitewater rafting in Jamaica on the White River. And what I want to share with you is that there are some safety things to be aware of. First of all, I looked it up. It wasn't a tourist whitewater rafting. The fact is that I looked it up on the internet. I called, I talked to Jacqueline, and she set it up, and everything was very nice people. But the fact is the taxi cab driver, Romeo, he ended up getting us to the wrong place after about an hour and a half. And when we got there, I looked around and I says, boy, I don't think this is the right place. When I showed the person the papers I was carrying that I took off the internet, he goes, I can't read that, but I know by the pictures this is not us. And that way we had a chance to find the right place. Another 45-minute drive into the backwoods, and next thing you know, side of the road, there's a car. That's the place. There's no building, there's nothing else. That's the place. With a machete and a weed whacker, they've cut a path through the jungle. You go up to what they call the blue hole areas. You get to do some swimming. They do some, some challenge dives. They show you how they're willing to take chances. They ask you if you want to. There was one over this long 45-degree angle rock ridge with the water just pushing you, and I gave it a try and jumped it, and I was fortunate enough to clear it. Obviously, otherwise I'd be in a Jamaican hospital right now. But I cleared it into the blue hole. Then from there we went down a little ways, went rafting. The man gives us some instructions on the importance of the paddle, how to stroke, what he wants you to do, and when he wants you to do it so that you can stay stable in the raft. Amanda and I were the only two people in the raft other than our guide, so I couldn't take the camera. But it was an exciting adventure that I recommend for anybody to have an opportunity. Do it. Hopefully you'll be able to do it in America someplace, and you'll be able to have all sorts of luxuries available to you. But wherever you get a chance, it is an exciting adventure. As you can see at the end, when we put our paddles together, it was a thrilling event. They do make you sign a waiver. It was fun. I hope you get a chance to do it yourself.
Safety and Awareness Today, brought to you in part by Doctor Uniforms, more than just medical.
What you just saw was a little more complicated self-defense technique. We do a lot of self-defense techniques. This one could be used in a situation where a woman is being attacked. We're using two males here. I have Mr. Phillips with me. If he grabs, I have a lot of things to concern myself with, but I want to move right away. And I don't want to worry about this fist over here. I'm going to use an arc hand, push his arm out, and I'm going to reach right past his head simultaneously like this. This is going to allow me, my arm is actually pulling his neck and bringing his neck down, which allows me to go to the solar plexus, to go to the back. So he grabs, push, solar plexus, and down he goes, all right? Let's try it one more time. Arc hand out, reach, solar plexus, and down, and you step and you move away. Okay, let's try it from the other side so that you can see it. I'm going to be pushing out. See how this motion is? Here, bang, there. And then you can step away, all right? Let's move on to another segment right now. Right now I want to talk about safety on a cruise. And the fact is, I just came back from a cruise on Princess Line, matter of fact, the Coral Princess. And some of the things that I found interesting. First of all, this little card that you see me holding right now here, this little card becomes essential. They have you have this card programmed when you get onto a ship now, and they have, every time you leave the ship, you must slide your card in. It takes a picture. You have a picture of yourself that's linked to this card. All the information about you is on this card. So when you leave the ship, you use the card to get off the ship, and you can't get back on the ship without the card. And through the card, they can, through a computer, keep track of all the passengers that are still on the ship and which ones have left the ship. So this becomes important. One of the nice things about this, though, is that anything that you buy beyond what you've already paid for on a cruise will be charged to this card. You don't use money, you don't use credit cards, you use nothing else but the ship's card that they've assigned to you. It opens your door to get into your room as well as everything else. So that's kind of nice, because as long as you have this with you, you're set. Now, other things to be aware of. There's a red cord hanging in your room on a ship, and that red cord is an emergency cord. And we checked that out, and we talked to some people on the ship. When you pull that cord, you immediately get a phone call from the staff regarding passengers' safety, and you get an immediate call from the captain's main quarters regarding his staff regarding passenger safety. So if there's an accident in the bathroom, and it's in the bathroom over the bathtub, you pull that cord, you have assistance immediately. They're there at your cabin. Now, along with that, we're talking about injuries. If you're sick, if you're nauseous, if you have something come up, and you want to see the doctor, they do have a doctor on cruise ships, but a lot of people never count on this, never think about it. What you do need to know is if you have to go see the doctor, your visit, in our case, is $60, and you must pay that then. And they have x-ray machines, and they can take care of all your other needs, but you pay for it with your ship card. You must turn it in to your insurance company when you get back from their billing. They will not use your insurance cards. They use their ship card to charge all of your doctor's expenses on that, and they will be paid for by you, and you will have to submit it to your insurance company separately. And a lot of people never check into that when they're taking a cruise. They just figure there's a doctor on board in case they get seasick or any other thing happens. Now, along that same line is, and again, I mentioned this card, when you look at the machine, your picture comes up as well as all of your information. As far as getting information to get off a ship, to abandon ship, they send you what's called muster stations. And that's where they divide the whole ship up, and you go to areas to find out information about what's going on. All right. The man overboard and all the other situations that you think about, they have videotapes playing on the television the whole time that you're taking the trip. There are fire alarms up and down all of these ships in case there is an emergency. And the other thing that's worth you knowing, and I know most of us love this part, your cell phones aren't going to work when you're out at sea. So that's not going to happen. But the internet is there. A little expensive, but internet communication is there. Right now we're going to cover an area of safety and awareness that some people might not affiliate with self-defense. And yet, when we do self-defense, it's looking out for our well-being, the well-being of our family members. I'm fortunate to be here with Dave Quinton. It's nice to have you with us on the show.
Thank you, Cliff.
And I'm at Quinton's Insurance and Finances, and we're talking about life insurance. Permanent life insurance for a child is a good thing. What's one of the main benefits?
Well, it's going to guarantee their future insurability.
Insurability, and we don't stop to think about that. They're going to be young, healthy, and they, you know, in your 20s, all of a sudden you got some injuries, you got some things that have happened, but you do it soon enough, they're healthy. What else does it do?
Well, it's going to build cash value for them, which they can access later on in life.
All right. Now, from that concept of a permanent life insurance, there's standalone policies?
Well, standalone versus a child rider. A standalone is a permanent life insurance policy. It's going to build better value for them for the dollar.
So it's going to have better value.
Yes.
It's worth checking in to life insurance for the simple fact that they're insurable. But there's a few options available, and there's some very sharp new programs available for life insurance policy, especially for kids for long-term use.
Exactly.
Excellent. It's been a pleasure having you with us on the show.
Thank you.
And I'd like to say that I learned some things. I hope you did, and I'll be looking for you on our next show.